Okay, so we're talking about right. So we're in the middle of Perak Tesvav and Shar Beis, right? And the Perak began again. We answered our question: why does it say by davening ubechol nafshechem with all your nefesh? And that is the idea is that davening is not just request for certain things that you need. Davening is actually dvekus, attachment. Davening is dvekus. That's what it means to bechol nafshechem, to do it with all your soul. That means attach your whole nefesh to the words of prayer, and like a korban, fly up to Shamayim with your prayer, right? With the words of prayer, shvichas hanefesh, to pour forth your soul, right? And as much as possible. So called the whole nafshechem, he also said, has two explanations. I mean, either with all of your soul or with every inch or any part of your soul. So meaning there could be different madrigas. You could do it completely, complete shvichas hanefesh, or you can do even a little bit. So there are madrigas within attachment that a person can achieve with in prayer. You can do it a little bit. You can have a little bit, and every person has to strive to even a little mesiras nefesh, a little attachment, shvichas nefesh, to the words of prayer, right? And that's, or you could do it completely, a total, complete attachment with complete disregard of any physical, right, feeling of gashmius. Totally libay b'shamayim, his heart is in the heavens, and he's completely, completely attached to these words of prayer. Now he's saying that, well, let's see, v'hinei. So this is where we're in the middle of it here. V'hinei kol hanal b'inyan tefillah. All of this above in regards to tefillah, sheikra shvichas hanefesh ledovko lo yisborach, whose essence is shvichas hanefesh, the pouring forth of the nefesh ledovko lo yisborach, to attach yourself to Hashem, blessed be He, b'chol teva, with every word. Hainu shvichas klal hanefesh lo yisborach. We're talking about pouring forth the entirety of the nefesh, of the soul. We're not without real concern, which part of the nefesh is going first or second or third, right? So the example that I would use, let's say a person is going to the mikveh, right? So his main goal is he's got to immerse the total part of his body into the mikveh, meaning he's immersing his totality, the total being, into the mikveh, right? But you could have another madrega within that, within the immersion of kol haguf, for the entire body in the mikveh, right? You could have another madrega where you understand that I'm also immersing my hands into the mikveh, my feet into the mikveh, my body into the mikveh, my head into the mikveh. I mean, you can look at each part of your body that's being, that's going into the mikveh together with the whole body, but you could look at each part individually. So, for let's say a person wants to specifically focus on the purification of some particular part of his body, right, by going into the mikveh, even though, again, the purpose of the mikveh is to completely immerse yourself, immerse your whole body. But with the immersion of the whole body, you're concentrating on, now my hands are purifying, and now my legs are purifying, and now my body is purifying, and my head is purifying, right? So you could look at the totality, the immersion of the total, and you could also look within the total, the immersion of each particular unit that's going in with the total. So same thing is going to be with the prayer. You could just pour forth your entire nefesh. My goal is a whole being, dveikus, I'm attaching all of myself to the prayer. But you could also listen, your nefesh has many parts to it, right? You can attach different parts of your nefesh to different parts of your prayer, as he's going to explain. Okay, so let's see. So amnam, however, yesh madrega yoiser gavoy. There's a madrega, there's a level that's even higher than this. V'hu lechavein, and that is to have kavana, to have an intent, bevchinas aprotim aklulim benefesh, for each individual part that is included in the nefesh. Ela shetzorich chinuch lehargil atzmai memadrega lemadrega. But of course, this requires training to habituate oneself from level to level. Once a person hurgel, he has habituated himself in pouring forth his entire nefesh in complete attachment to Hashem. After this, yatik atzmoi, he should move himself lechaven bevechinas haprotim shenaf le'shoy klula behem, to be mechaven in the different aspects of the nefesh, which is of the nefesh, that's the totality of the nefesh. Now, okay, so over here he's going to talk a little again Kabbalistic, so we're just going to run through it a little fast, but the next point, this is the Hagah. The Hagah in chapter 15 is just going to say that even though you're being mechaven for the pratim, on this new madrega, you're being mechaven for each part of the nefesh separately, you have to keep in mind that it's only within the totality of attachment. It's not you're not attaching each part of the nefesh independently, you're attaching the entire nefesh, but within the attachment of the entire nefesh, you're having the kavana for the attachment of the each nefesh separately. And that's what this Hagah is saying. With Tzarich Sheteda, you should need to know, she'af b'yispalalo b'madregas his kashrus protei nefesh, zeh bezeh, even after you're praying in the madrega of his kashrus, of binding the different parts of the nefesh one to another, you should not leave his place from binding the totality of the nefesh. This goes together. It's the individual that needs the general, meaning the totality, and the totality that needs the particular. That is, that before prayer, he first prepares himself. Before prayer, he prepares to attach his entire being to the prayer. The nefesh that surrounds all of the different particular parts of the and forces and desires within the nefesh. To attach all of them in their entirety to the light of Hashem. And every word and word that he prays, once he starts praying, right, and every word and word, he will attach different parts of the powers of Neiron. Neiron is Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, right? And according to the binding of the general, Yumshach Kav Or Yosher, he will get this beam of a straight light. Again, Kabbalistic terminology. I'll call Prat so he'll beam what's called a straight light on each particular aspect. So that all of the particulars will be bound to the surrounding light. Again, there's two lights that Kabbalah talks about: so surrounding light and a straight light. So things that we don't know much about. And I'm not going to read the next paragraph, but basically it brings this idea from the Arizal. Okay? But for us, what's needed to remember is this idea that, it's the particulars are only kind of important as part of the general. Okay? Moving on. Now let's see. Perek Tazayim. Ki yadua, it is known, shenefesh ha'odom b'klolo, that the soul of man in general, hiklula megilmel b'chinois pratim, is made up of three parts, three bechinas, three aspects, particular aspects. V'heim neiron, and they are the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Sheheim atzmam hagimel b'chinois, and that we discussed before in Shar Aleph, that these three parts of the neshama are parallel, are corresponding to the three ways a person conducts himself, which is Maisa, Dibur, Machshava, action, speech, and thought. Right? That's basically all of our productivity is done via one of these three ways: action, speech, and Machshava, and thought. Right? And each one, as we saw in Shar Aleph, they're connected to these three layers of the neshama. That's nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Shezeh kol adam. That's the entirety of man. Okay. Now he says a beautiful thing. Gam b'chol teva, in every word, in general. And this is what language is all about. In that language, the world was created with language, right? The Kodesh Baruch Hu created language, speech, for a reason. V'gam b'chol teva yesh gimel bechinas. In every word, there are also three layers of existence, you could say. The word exists in three layers. What do you mean? Ma'isa, dibur, machshavas. Also in action, speech, and thought. What does that mean? Let's see. Neiron, nefesh, ruach, neshama, veheim, and they are oisiois, letters, unukudois, vowels, utamim, tamim are notations to the Torah, but I would just translate it as tone, intonation. Okay, Shabbat, right? So every word that I say, right, has, especially in Hebrew, understand there's only the vowels are written, right? Only the not the vowels, only the consonants are written, the letters, that's what's called the letters. The nekudos, what he calls nekudos, which is literally translated as dots, really are called tnuos, right? Vowels in Hebrew are called tnuos, movements, because they allow you to move from one consonant to the next, right? You cannot verbalize a word without vowels, but the body of the word are the letters, which are consonants. The vowels are the connective tissue between the consonants in order to allow you to verbalize, to express the word, right? But even when you express the word, there is a tone. The tone defines the intent that you have of in the word, right? I could say, wow, you're such a genius, right? It could mean two different things depending on my tone. I could be sarcastic, and it could be an insult, or I could be, complimentary and praiseworthy, right? So the tone is defines the intent of the meaning, right? So that's what I mean. So you have the letters, that's the body or the nefesh of the word. Nakudos are vowels that allow you to connect the letters. That's the ruach, or the spirit of the word. And tamim is the neshama, is the machshava, is the intent of the word, right? Right? It says in the Zohar, tamei. Again, these are the cantillations, the way to read the Torah. Tamei inun nishmosin, they are like the souls. Unikudin ruchin, and the vowels are the spirits. Ve'asvin nafshin, and the letters are like nefesh. Right? V'chein isa shom bereish, whatever, and then the same appears in a different place. Hago. Again, this Hago is also going to take us a little beyond our capabilities. Here he's going to talk about, what about tagin, right? People have heard of tagin, crowns. That the Torah letters also have crowns. And there's a whole Gemara, right? Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva used to darshan tagin, used to darshan laws, halachas, was able to extract halachas from the crowns that are upon the letters, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, there's a whole medrash, right? Moshe Rabbeinu gets thrown into Rabbi Akiva's class, right? And he has no clue what's flying, and then that's the Rabbi Akiva over there darshaning tagin. So there are really four bechinas. So it's v'afshu b'kisei arizal mechalkam l'dalat bechinos. So even though in the writings of the Arizal, speech is divided into four aspects called tanta, right? Tamim, nekudos, tagin, and oisiois, tanta, right? Kiyodua, like it is known, hakol echad. My meaning and his meaning is really one meaning. Ve'ikram hem gimel bechinas roshim. There's really three root aspects. Why? Because you see in the Zohar, it's only the Zohar divides only into the three layers, not into four layers like there is. Tana, tamim, nekudas, and oisios, levad only. And it's not does not discuss the crowns of every letter. Rak hagimel ziyunin shel shatnez gats. Only the seven letters. There are seven letters shatnez gats that have the three crowns, right? Every letter has one little crown. Not every letter, but most letters have this one crown. And certain letters, the seven letters shatnez gats, they have the three crowns on them, right? So the Zohar only addresses the crowns of those letters. Shehem inim b'fnei atzmim, because those crowns have their own separate meaning, right? But the general crowns are not to be really taken as a separate bechina. Why not? He's going to explain about Tambas, and the reason for that is Mefurish Be'etz Chaim is explained also in Be'etz Chaim. Zelu Shoyne Shom. The Kitzer. This is some shortened version of his Lashon. There, Gam Beze Yuvan in Mamer Tikonim, and with that you will also understand the statement of the Tikunim of the Zohar. Ki Pam Hu Oimer Ki Ha'Oisyo Hem Gufo. Sometimes he calls the letters body, right? He calls the letters Nefesh. Right, nefesh meaning the lower part of the soul. Im kain, if so, ha'oisios nikroim guf. So the letters are called a body. Vatagin, but the crowns heim hanefesh de ha'oisios. They would be called the nefesh of the oisios. Right, meaning he's trying to say the simple idea. Is trying to say that we're talking about the body is the written letter, so to speak. Right. Because the tag has no meaning in spoken language, right? The crown only exists in the written form of the language, right? So in the written form of the language, when you're writing the letter down, you add the little crown. But the crown is part and parcel of the writing of the letter, which we associate with the body or the nefesh, because the lowest soul, which is the nefesh, is basically attached to the body, right? It's basically attached to the body. So therefore, I could look when I'm studying the letters. I could just look at oisios as one unit together with the crowns, or sometimes if I want to separate them, I could look at oisios as one unit, the tagin as another unit, and then finally nekudos and tamim. So basically, what he's saying is, there is no difference for our purposes between oisios, letters, and tagin, because the tagin are part of the oisios. The tagin will represent the nefesh, which is why it's attached to the letter, because again, the letter is the body, the tag, the crown is the nefesh, but it's one low unit of being. And then the other layers are nekudos and tamim. They are separate layers, independent layers, right? So that's what we're saying. This is the Rizal speaking. Just like the nefesh never is separated from the body, so too the tagin, the crowns, are never separated from the letters in the Torah at all. But nekudos and tamim, they're independent entities, right? You could have, for example, a kriyu ksiv, right? In the Torah, you could have a word written one way, but it is read a totally different way, right? So we see that the vowelization of a word is not directly attached to the writing of the word. Mashenkin, the tagin are part and parcel of the letter. So just like the nefesh is part and parcel of the guf. So that's why we're good. Mashenkin, good. Because the tagin, the crowns, are partnered up and connected to the essence of the letters. Shehem aguf, which is the body. V'atagin hem klolus ha'oisios. They're like the entirety of letters. Ubavur zen, which is why ein hatagin remuzim v'nizkorim b'tikunim. That's why the tagin are not mentioned in the Zohar. Yanki hem ha'oisios mishtatim yachan, because for the Zohar's purposes, the tagin and the letters are partnered into one unit. Once you talk about the oisios, the tag, which is the nefesh, is included. Because they are unified. Ad kan dvorov ein shom ba'orach. Look there in the orach. Okay, so that's the point. The point is, says, for my purposes here, the tagin and the oisios are as one unit, right? But you could break them up for whatever other purposes you may have. They're bechinas tanta. Again, tanta is the way you remember it. Tanta is like an ant, but tanta is tamim, nekudos, tagin, and oisios. But for his purposes, it's tana, which is tamim, nekudos, and oisios. Good. Now he goes into each one independently. So ha'oisios heim bechinas ma'aseh. So the letters themselves are on the layer of ma'aseh, of action. kimitzias oisios greda below nekudas, because the existence of oisios, of letters by themselves, without nekudas, without vowelization, efsher shiyu ela bevechinas masa. They can only be on a layer of action. Hainu masa haksiva, or for example, the action of writing. K'moshehem ksuvim b'sefer Torah below nekudas, just like they're written in the sefer Torah without nekudas. Ki bedibur efsher lehoitziyam mehapeh, because really, when it comes to speech, already you automatically have to include vowelization, because it's impossible to verbalize them without vowels. Im loyally they say from nekudas lehem, without attaching the vowels to them. L'chein, therefore, ha'oisios levad, therefore the letters by themselves, independently, below nekudas, without vowels, nikroim bechinas nefesh. So there they take on the lowest part of the nefesh, which is the nefesh. Hainu, again, Hainu says Hainu imatagim, together with the crowns, as in the Hagor. Shehu bechinas ma'isa kiyadua. So that's nefesh is related to action. Good. Next layer, v'hanekudos, and the vowels. Heim bechinas ruach shelahem. They are like the spirit of the letters, right? And in general, ruach, as we said before, ruach is the layer of the neshama that connects the nefesh, which is the lower part of the neshama, to the neshama, which is the higher part of the neshama. And ruach is that connective tissue. So that's why nekudos heim bechinas ruach shelahem. She'anekudas boim im ha'oisios, they come together with the letters. Al yidei hadibur, through speech. Shel ha'odam shu bechinas ruach, which is speech is ruach. I'm using air to express words. Just like the main part, the foundation of life of a person is with the ruach, right? That's where we saw in the beginning, where Hashem breathed the neshama and he became a ruach memalu, a speaking spirit, right? When a person's ruach leaves the body, that's when a person dies. Even though some part of the nefesh may remain within the body, within even the deceased body of a person. So too the main life of the movement of the letters, Heim and Akudes, they are the vowels. Because without them it is impossible to verbalize the letters from the mouth. I'm sorry, just like it's written in many places in Tikkunim, on the words v'hamaskilim, the maskilim, the enlightened ones, Ilain nikudei, these are the vowels, yazhiru, they will shine, the na'arin be'asfan, because they light up the letters. Okay. Now the next layer, v'atamim, which is the cantillations, in other words, the intonation, shalatevis, heim bechinas ha'machshava kavanas halev. They refer to the machshava and the kavan of the heart. Shehu bechinas ha'neshama kiyadua, which is connected to the layer of the neshama, as it is known, because the tamim is the movement that guides both the vowels and the letters, and a guide to some direction that they want. Something that's totally in the machshava and seichel. Again, like we explained, that tamim give you the stress on certain words, pauses here and there, pauses define meaning, all about the meaning, right? They bring out the meaning. Okay, good. He's now going to show this idea that of Tamim and Shir Shirim in Torah Zohav, right? It says rows of gold, right? Inun tnuye the Tame. These are the movements of the Tamim. Begin the Inun Asyon Mereisha de Malka, because these come from the head of the king. Whatever that means. It means that it's the machshava that counts. Lemei have daita usachlisonod le'asvan kulu, to give das and intelligence to the letters themselves. Okay, Ein Shon. V'shom Daf Nun Ches, Tnua de Tamei, the movement of the Tamim, the Inun Tikuna Ushlimu Bedaita. This is the Tikkun and the completion of the Das, B'suchlusonon, in intelligence. Lemin da Yadia, to know, Kulun Metlanehon B'chochmaso B'suchlusonu. They're all moving along with wisdom and understanding. Tnuye de iu shlimu de cholo. Okay, whatever. Okay, moving on. So, again, so the point, the idea is that intelligence, chokhmah, and understanding pierces through more through the intonation than through anything else. Okay, that is why they're called tamim in the first place. What do you mean, tamim? What does the word tam mean? The word tam means either taste, but it could also mean reason, right? So that's why v'lechen nikroim tamim, k'mo she'atam v'hapeirush shel kol inyan hu ha'seichel hanister shebinyan. Because the tam, the reason, is the seichel, the interpretation that's hidden within the idea, right? When you interpret the idea, you bring out its inner meaning. That's why they're called tamim, which means reasons. That's how, when a person, through the reason, a person can understand an idea. Good. So again, he keeps on explaining this idea. The letters in relation to the vowels is like a body, like a body to a spirit. And the clothing of the vowels is the nefesh. Nishmasa ihi keser al kulu, and the neshama is a crown on all of them. Umeno kisrin dinan tamim, and from there are the crowns which are the tamim, the vowels, the cantillations. Tnua the nekudin ve'asrim. It's the movement of both the nekudos and the letters. Ve'ihi talia b'machshavta, and that's totally dependent on the intent, the machshava, unekudin talian be'amira. But vowels are totally in speech. Ve'asvan be'asiya, but letters are connected to action, which is either writing or mostly writing. Okay. Now getting back to his main point. So till now, all he was doing is to show how in every single word of anything we say, there are three layers of appreciation, right? The body, the neshama, the body and the nefesh, the ruach, and the neshama. Therefore, ha'oived ha'amiti, a true servant of Hashem, a true oived, v'kavona retzui, who wants to achieve a really desired kavona, yechaven, he should be mechaven, lishpoich, to pour forth, uledabek, and to attach, yachad bitfilosoi, together with his prayer, kol hagimel bechinois nefesh ruach uneshama. He should attach to his prayer. So we have the totality of the neshama. I'm attaching my whole being to the words that I'm speaking. But now he also understands that I'm attaching separately the nefesh, separately the ruach, separately the neshama. Asher nafshe klulo behen, which is the entire nefesh is comprised of them. From the moment that he enunciates from his mouth every word of prayer, which is comprised of the three bechinos, layers of neiron, nefesh, ruach, neshama, which is be'oisyois, nekudesh, v'tamim. Yisatzem, he should strengthen himself betoiher liboy, with purity of heart, be'oitzem atshuka, with the depth of his yearning, lekasher, to bind, uledabek, and to attach, al yodoi, through the words of prayer, memata lemaila, from below to above, beseder hamadregas, through the layer of the levels, nafshay beruchay v'ruchay b'nishmosay, to attach his nefesh to the ruach and his ruach to the neshama. Meaning he attaches his nefesh to the nefesh to the letters, then the ruach to the vowels, and the neshama to the tamim, to the intonation. Okay, so every part of his prayer, so we imagine the kind of level of prayer we're talking about, that not only is he completely attached to every word in his prayer, that his whole being is part and parcel of the prayer, he also understands how even the intonation of what he's saying is part of his avodah, to attach his neshama to the tone of his prayer. Okay. And then they will all go up to the root of that word in the lofty spheres. Okay, let's do a little more, and then we'll just finish this paragraph, and we'll leave the Hagah. The rest of the paragraph is the Hagah. Now he's just going to bring a proof again to this idea from the Zohar, and the rest of this paragraph is a Hagah, which we'll leave for next time. And okay, good. This is what it says in Tikkunei Zohar Chodesh. V'amaskilim, again, the enlightened ones, inun di is behoin seichel lishtamoida b'tzilusay. The enlightened ones, the maskilim, are those that have the seichel, the intelligence, that to know the prayer, how it goes, how it goes up through letters, through vowels, and through intonations. The pasuk says in Daniel, who has the power to stand in the palace of the king. Standing over there means the standing in prayer. Klila mikula, which is a type of prayer. If you want to know what gives you the power to stand in the palace of the king, that is the kind of prayer that is concluded, that is comprised of tame, nekude, ve'aswan, of intonations, of vowels, and the letters. Okay, that concludes this paragraph.